It was supposed to be a weekend escape. For friends, Samantha, her boyfriend Evan, their best friends Jade and Ryan, packed up their gear, chasing a quiet forest getaway far from city noise and phone signals. The campgrounds had been abandoned for years, replaced by newer sites closer to the highway, but that only made it sound better. They wanted isolation, a place where the only light came from the stars and the fire they built themselves. As they drove deeper into the back roads, trees swallowed the sun, branches clawed against the windshield, and the GPS died. Evan laughed it off, claiming he knew the route from an online map, while Samantha stared out the window, uneasy at how the forest seemed to watch them. When they finally reached the clearing, the old wooden sign hanging crookedly read Camp Dreadwood. The letters were faded, but something about the word dread sent a chill down her spine. They set up tents near a fire pit ringed by stones blackened with decades of soot. The air felt heavier there, almost sour, like something had spoiled long ago. "It's perfect," Jade said, spreading out her sleeping bag, but the others noticed her forced smile. As night fell, crickets went silent. Evan threw wood on the fire, and sparks leapt into the darkness. The flames danced in the reflection of Samantha's eyes as she whispered, "It feels like we're not alone." Ryan teased her, "Relax, Sam, it's just us and the bears." Everyone laughed, but when Evan got up to grab another log, his flashlight beam caught something in the trees, a shape, low to the ground, gone before he could focus. He said nothing, not wanting to scare anyone. After dinner, they shared stories and cheap whiskey until the fire dimmed. That's when the sound began, a dragging noise, slow and heavy, circling the camp. Ryan shined his flashlight, but the beam cut through only mist. The sound stopped. He chuckled nervously, probably a raccoon. But then came a smell, metallic, rotten, unmistakably blood. Jade gagged and covered her mouth. Samantha whispered, "We should go." Evan shook his head. "It's fine. Just stay close." Sometime after midnight, the dragging returned, this time behind Samantha's tent. She froze, clutching Evan's arm. Something scraped the nylon. Then a low voice murmured from outside, words half swallowed by the night. "Fresh meat." Samantha screamed. Evan grabbed the flashlight and tore open the tent zipper, but no one was there. Only footprints, bare wide, smeared with what looked like mud but smelled like decay. By morning, the group debated leaving. The forest was quiet again, too quiet. No birds, no wind. Ryan insisted they stay one more night, claiming the noises were locals trying to scare trespassers. Samantha protested, but Evan sided with Ryan, saying they couldn't look weak. The day passed slowly. They explored the ruins of the old camp, collapsing cabins, rusted swings, a dining hall overtaken by vines. Inside, Samantha found a broken picture frame showing a smiling group of campers, but their faces were scratched out with something sharp. Beneath it, a word carved into the wall, "Eat." Her hands trembled. She told Evan, but he dismissed it. Old prank. Forget it. That night, thunder rolled and rain poured. The fire sputtered and died. In flashes of lightning, Samantha saw figures moving between the trees, thin, pale, their eyes glinting red. She screamed for Evan, but when he rushed out, one of the figures lunged at him. Its mouth was torn wide, teeth jagged like bone shards, its skin hanging loose as if peeled. Evan swung the flashlight, cracking it across the creature's skull. It shrieked and retreated, but more shapes closed in. The friends ran into the old dining hall and barricaded the door with broken tables. The thunder masked their panicked breathing. Ryan peered through a gap and whispered, "There's more than one. A lot more." A sudden thud hit the door. Then another. The wood splintered. Samantha screamed as a hand, gray, blood-streaked, with nails like knives, punched through. The creatures forced their way in. Jade grabbed a rusted pole and stabbed at one, screaming. Evan dragged Samantha toward a back window. "Go!" he shouted, but Ryan tripped, caught by something that pulled him into the swarm. His scream was short, wet, and final. Samantha and Evan crawled through the window into the storm, running blindly. Behind them, Jade's cries faded into silence. They ran until their legs gave out, collapsing near a stream. Evan's arm bled from a deep bite. Samantha sobbed, "We have to keep moving." But Evan was pale, trembling. "I can't, it burns." He fell to his knees, convulsing. His skin bubbled, veins turning black. Samantha screamed, backing away as his face twisted into something monstrous. His eyes rolled back, then snapped open, glowing red. She ran, through branches tearing her skin, through mud and rain, until she stumbled into a small shack. Inside, the walls were lined with bones. Skulls stacked neatly, some small, some fresh. She gagged, trying not to scream. The door creaked open behind her. Standing there was a woman, tall and thin, her apron soaked in crimson. Her smile was too wide, her eyes sunken but alert. "Welcome to supper," the woman crooned. Samantha bolted for the back door, but the woman was impossibly fast, slamming her head into the wall. "You city folk keep wandering in," she whispered. "We just make sure nothing goes to waste." Samantha's vision blurred as she saw others in the shadows. Men, women, all mutilated, eating silently from bowls filled with she didn't want to know. The last thing she saw before darkness claimed her was the woman lifting a cleaver. Samantha woke later, chained to a table in the dining hall, candles burning all around. Her friends were there, what was left of them. Evan, now disfigured, smiled grotesquely, chewing something unrecognizable. Jade's body hung from hooks nearby, her eyes wide open. Ryan's head rested on the table beside her, mouth frozen mid-scream. The woman from before stood at the end of the table. "Dinner's ready," she said, licking her fingers. Samantha screamed until her voice broke, but no one in the endless forest heard. Days passed, or maybe hours. Time lost meaning. Samantha faded in and out of consciousness, hearing chanting outside, drums made from stretched skin, laughter that wasn't human. When she finally found enough strength, she pulled at her chains until her wrists bled. One shackle loosened. The woman returned, carrying a tray. Samantha waited until she leaned close, then smashed the tray into her face. The woman fell back, shrieking. Samantha broke free, grabbing the cleaver and running into the woods. The storm had passed, leaving a full moon and mist rising off the ground. She ran until her lungs burned, hearing the woman's laughter echo through the trees. "You can't leave the table hungry." Samantha stumbled into the same clearing where they had first camped. The tents were gone. The fire pit was cold. She heard footsteps behind her and turned. It was Evan, his face torn but smiling. "Stay for dessert," he whispered. Samantha swung the cleaver, hitting his shoulder, but he didn't flinch. He grabbed her throat, pressing her against a tree. His breath smelled like rot. "You taste like fear." Summoning her last strength, Samantha drove the cleaver into his neck. He fell, gurgling, black blood spilling into the dirt. She ran until she saw headlights, a ranger's truck. She waved frantically, collapsing as the ranger jumped out. "Help me, please," she cried. The man helped her into the truck, looking horrified at her wounds. As he radioed for backup, Samantha felt a faint relief. But then she noticed something. On his arm, a tattoo. The same symbol carved on the shack walls, a circle with teeth. He smiled at her in the rearview mirror. "You made it out alive," he said softly. "That means you belong here now." He locked the doors and turned off the radio. The road led deeper into the woods. The next morning, the forest was silent again. Another group of campers arrived, laughing, setting up near the fire pit. A crow watched from above as the breeze carried the faint smell of smoke and something else, sweet, meaty, and raw. Deep underground, in the dining hall lit by candlelight, Samantha's voice joined the others, chanting in hunger. The feast was never meant to end.